So, guys, I just wanted to remind everybody that this episode has been translated into multiple languages, and if you're hearing me right now in a different language than you were expecting, all you have to do is click onto the gear icon somewhere on this screen. A new pop-up menu will appear. Scroll down, and you'll see Audio Track. Click on this, and you can select the language of your choice. You can select English, Brazilian Portuguese, French, Spanish, and German. YouTube has given us access to all of these new dubbed features, and I hope it's helped other people reach my content and enjoy my episodes. Thanks again for all your support, everybody. It really means the world to me. And let's get on to this episode. Hey guys, Jay! Welcome back to the channel. 2025 has started off with pretty much a bang. But I've been hearing brand new things about the Master Universe movie, which of course is going to be airing in June 2026. At least that's the thought. I still have my doubts about this film, and I've been hearing a lot about the casting that's been happening, over the past couple of months. Kind of left me with a pause. I wasn't really too convinced about this overall selections. So today I wanted to take a deep dive into this and see exactly who was cast for what roles and whether or not they're actually appropriate. And as a matter of fact, we're going to go a little bit deeper and see what fans think of this, because some fans have actually created imagery using AI technology. Guys, let's take a deep dive into this and see exactly what was posted about all the castings for the Master of the Universe movie releasing in 2026. Let's have a look. So, this was one of the first things that really caught my attention. Good friends of the channel, Canal dos Los Mineros, actually posted this a few days ago, and it got my attention. According to them, the actor playing He-Man says his movie is quite different than the original, and will hopefully attract a bunch of new fans. So, this got me thinking, how much difference is there going to be, as there already has been quite a difference announced in the original release. On January 5th, 2025, this was reported by Dateline. Galitzine teases the He-Man preparation for Master Universe, and this kind of caught my attention, as the actor went on to say, "No pressure, I just have to embody the strongest man in the universe," he joked. He continued the detailed prepping. There's been a lot of eating and weightlifting and a lot of stunts. I'm thinking about 4,000 calories a day. That's a lot. But the amount of physical work I'm doing, you end up hungry at the end of the day, which is quite surprising, and that's the fun part. It's not all breezy, Galitzine continued, echoing similar sentiments shared by actors who previously portrayed superheroes in the labors and often cruel work of strict, grueling regiments. And apparently he has been making a lot of progress. As a matter of fact, good friends of the channel, foreternia.com, actually showcased a few photos of the cast who are changing their appearances for this film, and one of them really caught my attention. It is of Galitzine preparing for his role as He-Man. He's looking quite a bit different from what he looked like when he was first cast for the role. When we first took a look at Nicholas, he sort of looked okay. I mean, he had that surfer body. He was looking like a teen heartthrob. Now, it's very blurry. It's not, the best picture in the world. But according to Fortunia, this is Nicholas today. And I gotta tell you, he's way, way bigger than he was when we first saw him in this photo. So, yeah, I'm starting to see something. I'm starting to see something here, but I'm still not convinced. Not exactly. But let's continue. More articles continue to come out. MSN.com, Vocal Media/Geeks, and Screen Rant. Screen Rant's article was titled, "How the Live-Action Master Universe Movie Will Be Different from the Animated Shows Explained by the He-Man Actor." So this was actually an interview with Nicholas Galitzine. This article is written by Nathan Graham Lowry, and it goes on to say that the Master Universe lead star Nicholas Galitzine compares the upcoming movie to past takes on the franchise. Though the production has yet to kick off on Master Universe, Galitzine teased to the Hollywood Reporter how the adaptation will approach the franchise's source material. While the star acknowledged that earlier and most influential versions had a distinct, memorable campiness, the upcoming movie will have its own tone. The actor highlighted how several more recent iterations of the character had their own approach to hint at how the movie would treat the source material. According to Galitzine, "Look, what I will say is that our version is quite different from the original age, which we all agree was camp within its own right and worked well for the time. But there's been a couple of iterations, obviously, since then. There was the Master Universe Revolution version, the Master Universe, and the comics themselves. And we're very much treating our script as Bible." If you actually read that a couple times, pretty evident that particular production is moving away from all those types of treatments. And when they say that they're treating their script as Bible, trying to say is they're probably going to have shades of Master Universe at the same time it is their own. Nevertheless, Galitzine stated that he was honored to hear how passionate people were towards the franchise, promising that the movie would be pleasing to those who grew up with the property through nods and references, while also providing newcomers with an entry point. Galitzine's explanation below. Nicholas goes on to say, but it's kind of amazing to hear what the show meant to a lot of people. It was really formative for a lot of people, so it's exciting to do something that will have a nostalgia element, well as hopefully attract a bunch of new fans. So, in that, I think that they're referencing the idea that, of course, it's Master Universe, it's going to be nostalgic, but for the most part, they are really trying to get newer viewers, younger viewers, which is smart. Something I definitely will not deny. In order for Master Universe to grow, in order for Master Universe to continue, it needs new fans. This has been evident in the resurgence of course, comic book heroes. You know, the fact that kids today still love Captain America, Spider-Man, Superman, because they never really left the consciousness, right? They've had cartoons throughout these years. They've had movies, they've had media, including comic books. So they've been able to successfully reach newer audiences, and that's something that Master Universe has to do if it wants to continue. Of course, this leaves us with a couple of questions left. Going to look at all the casting choices, and I guess I can sort of see this shaping up. I really want to take a deeper dive and see what these characters could possibly look like. And thanks to the world of AI and just fans across the world, we can actually take a look at some possible looks for He-Man in the Master Universe. Now, these are obviously going to be mostly AI-generated, mock-ups, but it's still a lot of fun to take a look at the possibilities. All of these images were referenced from the Facebook page Mother of All Nerds. Definitely give them a like and a follow. I have a link in the description below where you can check out just for your own. The first character we're going to take a look at is Evil-Lyn. Alison Brie, of course, is cast in this particular role, and I gotta tell you, it's interesting seeing a few of the takes that people have for this character. The suit looks pretty damn cool, I gotta tell you. And again, it's really interesting how far AI has actually taken all of these and really given us sort of a glimpse into the future of what's possible for Master Universe. There are some interesting ideas for the overall costume and the look. To be honest with you, this one looks a little bit more Power Ranger to me. I do love these more subtle takes on the character, especially the ones which have a little bit more of the traditional look for Evil-Lyn. Of course, the headdress is going to be something which is going to be very key to Evil-Lyn in her overall appearance. This one is looking a little bit more Scarlet Witch to me. I really am very taken aback by this version here. Possibly could be worked in and given a little bit more treatment, be a little bit more finessing by actual artists. I think we might have something going here. This would be an interesting look for a shrouded kind of appearance, maybe when she first appears on screen. Very, very interesting. This is another take on that sort of appearance. We're getting a little closer with the headdress, but again, it's looking very Scarlet Witch-like, and they're really playing with this shroud type of idea. This particular look is probably the closest we've seen so far, as the headdress is starting to really look almost as if it's a crown, very much the way Evil-Lyn's tiara is starting to look. Again, she has these haunting eyes and beautiful personality, so I definitely think that the overall casting definitely will come down to the costume at the end of the day. But it is interesting to take a look at these particular takes on Evil-Lyn using AI to generate a look character herself. Moving on to Camila Mendes as Teela, we have some very interesting looks here, and let's take a deeper dive into this because I think we can definitely see possibilities here. This one's very subdued. I really do like the overall white appearance of it, giving it a more Eternian style, very much in the overall appearance of the original character in toy and cartoon form. This one has a little bit more of a sorceress edge to it. Obviously, she is the daughter, spoilers ahead, of the sorceress, as we'll find out probably throughout the series. And it's interesting to see how they're evolving that into the character here with the AI. She really is quite the beauty, and on the other side, we can see the sort of red hair, more natural appearance on this stage. We can even see a furry loincloth being added to this. Very, very interesting. Again, we're getting more of a She-Ra look now, which I think is very interesting in its overall appearance and might actually be a good nod to the overall characters who are not appearing in the movie. That was a great take and a great look at Eva Mendes using AI as Teela. And now let's take a look at Jared Leto, who again is going to be a very character as Skeletor. Here we take a look at him more as a Keldor type of character, I think, and that would be a really interesting exploration for the character of Skeletor. Moving on to the more fantastic aspect, definitely see here that this would be more of a real prosthetic. Interesting in its overall design. I still like the idea they kept the design of the eyes, which you can still see. This one seems more of a mask to me and probably will not be in the final production. The overall costume, though, is starting to look pretty interesting. Not too sure if they're going to go with the big, huge skull in the middle. Actually, just a bit too. Jared Leto, of course, has a wonderfully chiseled look, and those eyes are just absolutely piercing. Seeing again, the overall design is very interesting, what AI is able to do with costume design. Again, Jared Leto himself has that wonderful appearance, and these additional takes with Skeletor definitely have a wonderful overall concept, especially when we talk about his earlier days as Keldor. Moving on to some of the more fantastic features, this one definitely looks like it's more of a mask type of situation, which I don't disagree with. I wonder if he'll start off with a mask and then move on to actually prosthetics. But the overall designs are an interesting exploration into what's possible for the character. I sort of am leaning towards this. I kind of like the way that looks. Very much reminiscent of a character I saw in one of the Marvel movies lately. Definitely, we can at least expect that visually, as a human, Jared Leto is definitely going to pull off an interesting take on Skeletor decide to go in. But if they decide to pull him into more skeletal features, I think we can definitely take some of these as inspiration to any sort of looks that they might decide to use in the Master Universe movie, or something closer to what we saw with the Red Skull. Moving on to Idris Elba as the Man-at-Arms. Now, I have to admit, I don't think any of these first few takes are going to fly in the movie, but I still love the effort. I think it's a really good exercise, and we really should take a look at these. Oh my gosh. Can I say that I'm in love with this? I mean, literally, I love the effort on this. I love the take. I love the concept that is still taking, you know, the cartoon, the toy, all that crazy stuff into account, and just doing this crazy... you know, kind of idea with it. I could definitely see this in something like Guardians of the Galaxy, or, you know, one of those definite, space fantasies that he could easily fit into, one of those Marvel movies in outer space. I think that's definitely the case. And he has this sort of almost Mega Man feel, which of course is definitely up my alley, with this chest piece, a lot of electronics in there. You know, it's surrounded in all this grime and grunge. So yeah, it definitely has a feeling of being very much lived in and part of the Master Universe world stuff. Most of these pictures continue this idea, and it's not that it's... I mean, the effort is there, and I appreciate it, but I don't think that many of these designs are actually going to fly the way they actually are now. There's just too much toyetic nature in here, which I can appreciate being a fan of Master Universe, but I don't think it's very realistic overall. This one's not too bad, though. You know, it's got a couple of... it's got some shoulder pauldrons on the side, it's got a bit of a chest armor, but there still needs to be a little bit more development. The mace is kind of interesting. I do actually appreciate that, but other than that, definitely some more development. Idris Elba, of course, is iconic in his overall appearance, and this one a lot closer to what I can envision as Man-at-Arms armor, at least on a more realistic take of it. I think that this is probably as close as we're going to get with these AI-developed images. It is interesting to see how far they're taking this. And mind you, it looks like Idris Elba has been doing some serious lifting on the off-season, so really cool to see this take on Idris Elba. There are a couple more takes here, and I think that this is definitely getting a little bit closer. We're probably going to get something along these lines, whereas the rest of them are a little bit all over the place. Do appreciate some of these designs. Definitely going to come down to something more along these lines, and something maybe in between this and this, for sure. And of course, can't leave out the most powerful man in the universe. Let's take a look at Nicholas Galitzine as He-Man. These takes are absolutely crazy, and of course, I really do take many of these designs as not being possible. I don't see the fact that we're gonna traditional He-Man straps. I don't think that's actually possible. Dolph Lundgren was able to pull it off to a certain degree, but I think that those days are pretty much gone. There's probably going to be more armor on Nicholas this time around. Having a look at what he could look like is going to be very interesting. Here, of course, is a very interesting take on Nicholas in the He-Man's traditional straps, and not bad. Don't know if you can get that type of chiseled chin. Guess we'll have to see. This sort of looks like his head was just placed onto somebody else's body, so not really going to put much stake into that one. As I said earlier, the way he's starting to look, I wasn't thinking that he could fit the role originally. Now, with a little bit more of what we're seeing here, might be possible. We'll just have to wait and see how it turns out. But so far, with these AI reality type of situations, is some sort of, again, concept. But I think that his overall physique probably end up being a little bit closer to something like this. Again, I really don't think that he will have a Dolph Lundgren style armor like the original 1986 movie. I think it's going to be a little bit more armored up. I think he's a little bit more covered up. That these photos of his progression, we might actually see a really buffed up He-Man, which was absolutely amazing in my opinion. Befitting of the character as he should be portrayed. Well, if the rumors are true and all of these announcements are true, cast of Master Universe 2026 has been fulfilled, and overall cast and choices interesting, very diverse, and filled with incredible actors who definitely can wonderful performances for each and every one of these characters that we love. How's this movie going to turn out? I'm not 100% sure. Continue with the narrative that they've announced all the way back in June of 2024. I still have a hard time seeing how well this movie is going to be received by older fans. And I'm not really sure exactly how it's going to be received by younger fans. But regardless of all that, I'm a Master Universe fan, and I'm eager to see how this movie plays out, regardless of what type of narrative it has. And as a Master Universe fan, I'm going to give it every opportunity to make me fall in love with it. But at present, it's going to be very, very difficult to see that happening. I'm hoping that closer to 2026, my opinion will change drastically. I'm still very much torn, guys. I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced. As many of you guys know, I said quite a few months ago, this movie is something that I really do want to come to fruition. I'm very, very interested in a Master Universe movie. The problem is, as my attitude was then, it's the same thing as it is now. I'll believe it when I see it. I I'm still not exactly convinced with the overall casting here. I mean, Nicholas Galitzine, it looks like he's putting in the effort for at least bulking up to become He-Man, and that's fine. That's great. I really applaud him for that. Mendes, I mean, she's looking pretty good herself. The training she's going through, all the stuff that she's taking up to become Teela, I think that's commendable as well. And I really do look forward to seeing if they do some sort of makeup call, or put on some prosthetics or whatever it is, costume design, however that's going to come about. I really am looking forward to that, seeing how that's going to how that's going to play out. The rest of the cast, though, I am very, very much torn. As I said in the video, I really do appreciate Idris Elba. I think he's one of one of the best actors I've ever seen in quite some time. I loved him in Pacific Rim. I loved him, as Hemdall from Thor. I loved him in multiple roles. The one with the lions, oh my gosh, crazy. And of course, he's Knuckles. He's Knuckles from Sonic. Come on, you can't get much better than that. But as Man at Arms, it's probably just me. I have a hard time seeing it. I have a hard time seeing it as, of course, I grew up with Man at Arms as, Alan Oppenheimer, a very, fatherly figure who, on the cartoons, it's just, that is my Duncan. That is that is Man at Arms. Even in 2000X and Revelation and Revolution. I mean, even I don't think he showed up in New Adventures, but it's just so hard for me to detach myself from that version of Man at Arms, from that version of Duncan. And then of course there's Skeletor. I just can't see it. I really can't. With some makeup, he probably could pull off a great performance. He is a great actor after all. But it's just so hard for me to see it right now. I think I'm gonna have to see some costume tests, some prosthetics put on Jared Leto and some of the other characters. It's for any of the rubber monster things. I think there's probably an easy way to do that, but the performances, how it's gonna come out, I just really end up comparing them to characters like Frank Langella brought to life, and unfortunately, that is a very hard bar to get up to. At the end of the day, I just have to default to my first original statement. I'm going to believe it when I see it. I think that I've been let down too many times by announcements of a Masters Universe movie. I think that really is the problem here. I think that every single time a Masters Universe movie comes up for, renewal or, interest as a property to be put into a movie format, I think that it gets to a certain point, casting is done, some of the principal money is actually put up, the script is written, there's so many different story points that they're able to make, and for whatever reason, whether it be delays in production, maybe the lead actors at some point are convinced away from the actual roles, and they actually end up doing something else, or something tragic happens, like, of course, the pandemic, and the actors need to go on to do other projects just to keep them busy. Something inevitably happens. It seems to be a bit of a curse with the Master Universe. And unfortunately, it seems to me as if this curse is slightly there and will continue. Aside from all that, though, the story. The story is really where it's kind of hitting me. And I just have this overall bad feeling that once you bring it back to Earth and get these characters into a mode where, especially Prince Adam in this case, he's whisked away from his family on Eternia, brought to Earth, and grows up there for the better part of 20 years. I just can't see it. I just cannot see why a young man in his 20s would fight for a planet he doesn't have any connection to. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm absolutely wrong, and I hope that this movie proves me wrong. But I'll believe it when I see it. Let me know in the comment section below, guys, what are your thoughts about the casting for the Masters of the Universe 2026 movie? Are you as perplexed about the choices as I am? I mean, looking at Nicholas Galitzine right now, I can sort of see something there. And the other roles they're filling in, I'm really kind of torn. Some of them I think are very, very appropriate. Some of them I think it's just hard for me to detach myself from the original vision of what others have come before. So I'm really looking forward to finding out if I'm wrong. Or are you guys as amazed and enthralled, and the imagination and, the magic of movie making is probably going to be something, and that's your opinion of this? Let me know that in the comment section below. Guys, movie news seems to be continuing into 2025, and a lot of the films, of course, are backed by great toys. As a matter of fact, Master Universe continues to make great toys moving into 2025. And Mondo continues to make amazing toys. As a matter of fact, I did a look into the latest Mondo release for Buzz Off, and that was absolutely amazing. You can take a look at that video right here, and I'll see you guys there. Good journey, everybody. Keep proud.